I need your help. 51 years ago, when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, people didn't know much about it. Doctors did, and they tested for it, because it was the most common acute illness in children. It still is. But myths surrounding diabetes have rendered type 1 invisible. Doctors aren't testing, and kids are dying. Kids like Kaisi Terry. When she got sick in 2015, her parents took her to the doctor. Everyone thought she had the flu or a virus, and she was sent home on antibiotics. But Kaisi got worse, so her mom and dad took her to emergency, where she was given a new diagnosis, type 1 diabetes. Kaisi's immune system was attacking her pancreas, causing inability to access insulin, the primary metabolic hormone that provides energy to cells. She was consuming fat, tissues, and organs to get nutrients for survival. Kaisi was in diabetic ketoacidosis, or DKA. The end result is poison, and it looks like this. She was then flown to a different hospital, suffering brain hemorrhage on the way, and arrived in coma on life support with profound neurological damage. 180 days into recovery, Kaisi was allowed to go home. No more cheerleading, no wrestling or hugging her 5 brothers, no bedtime chats with mom and dad. She couldn't talk or walk, feed herself, or control her own body functions. 6 months after diagnosis, Kaisi was dead. 96% of kids under age 3 and 67% of kids under age 5 being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes are in life-threatening DKA. But what if parents knew the symptoms and took their kids for immediate testing? And what if, when they got to doctors' offices and hospitals, every child appearing with common illness symptoms was given the benefit of doubt? A simple 45-second test of 1 drop of blood costing $1. We could save a lot of lives. We can't bring Kaisi back or multitudes of children like her, but we can honor them by changing our beliefs and assumptions about diabetes and learning. 19,000 kids are diagnosed every year in the US with type 1 diabetes. 18,000 of them will suffer death or lifetime handicap equal to the severity of DKA at diagnosis, making early testing critical, if only to rule type 1 out. Medicine refers to this as differential diagnosis, important to practices, but it's not being done. Parents don't know the symptoms, and the combination has become deadly. The symptoms are straightforward. These are the acute ones. We have cards for you in the lobby with complete symptoms. Please learn them and share with everyone. But life isn't simple, is it? Had Kaisi survived her diagnosis, her life might have been more like mine. I was also diagnosed in coma, on life support, suffering complete vascular collapse and brainstem damage. I survived because doctors diagnosed me earlier, and I went on to learn the routines that would keep me alive. I sharpened needles on matchbook covers, sterilized glass syringes and test tubes in boiling water, and got busy. Type 1 diabetes is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year challenge to stay alive. No time off, even while sleeping. Kaisi would have used different tools, but the strategies would have been the same. So complex they defy simple description. She could have even learned from those of us who are actually succeeding at it, but she never got the chance because the myths surrounding diabetes killed her. The biggest one that comes at us from so many sources, it's hard to miss, is that diabetes happens to middle-aged or overweight people and those who practice poor lifestyle choices. See the myth at work here? As a practical nutritionist, a third of the people I work with, even those with type 2, have never been overweight. All people with diabetes are prescribed diet and exercise in the hopes of improving outcomes. And all people with diabetes experience stigma due to publicizing of diabetes as a behavior problem. I've crushed diabetes and was awarded a silver medal for surviving more than 50 years because I've dared to question everything, including my own assumptions. I learned that there are good myths that teach and bad myths that kill. All of them have monsters and all have loss. But do they have to? Are we compassionate enough and brave enough to destroy the myths for a more effective truth? Let's find out. The cause of diabetes is unknown after thousands of years of research. Most people aren't aware there are 6 types, all of them different, complex, and serious. Type 1 is an autoimmune disease in the same category as multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, and lupus. Type 1.5 acts like type 1 and type 2 combined. Type 2 affects how the body uses insulin or stores fat for energy. Type 3 is Alzheimer's. Are you surprised? Type 4, or monogenic diabetes, causes lowered insulin production. Even pregnant moms aren't exempt from gestational diabetes, a foreshadowing of type 2 diagnosis. Diagnosis rates are increasing regardless of age, financial status, ancestry, geography, or fitness. And there is no cure for any type of diabetes. Diabetes is the #1 cause of death in the United States because it is the leading cause of 5 and implicated in 8 of the top 10 causes of death listed by the Bureau of Vital Statistics. More people die from type 1 diabetes, the rarest form, than from breast cancer and AIDS combined. Please take a moment now to look at the person on your left. Now the person on your right. One of the 3 of you will be diagnosed with 1 or more forms of diabetes in the next 13 years. By 2006, diabetes had reached epidemic status. The United Nations unanimously passed a resolution to prevent and cure diabetes, the only non-infectious disease ever mandated for immediate global action. They're reclassifying it a pandemic. Raise your hands if you know what the international symbol for diabetes is. Now look around you. There's a blue circle pinned on your lanyards to wear as ambassadors of today's talk. You now carry important information that others need to hear. We can change this, and we can make it right if we stand together to unite with people around the world to prevent stigma and stop deaths. All it takes is awareness and education. The conversations are worth having. The revolution of truth begins, and destroying the myths will end with us.